time what the Rangers are considering doing. And oh no, I was very wrong. I'd much rather be a Rangers fan at this point than a Columbus fan.
Yeah, which naturally brings us to the Rangers, where John Hynes may not be out of work for very long.
I don't know what it is, but I hate to interrupt you, Chase, but I don't know what it is, but every time he gets fired, there's always somebody that's just ready to, like, not even like a day after. Like, because the Preds signed him, like, what, 2 days after he was fired?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yep.
Do you think he's like the ultimate, like we see this
2 days
across
after
all
Laviolette was
sports,
fired.
where he reminds me kind of like the Doug Collins of NHL coaches, where you're like, I love that Bryan is old enough to get this, because like Jeff, I don't think understands that reference, but like,
No, I don't know.
Doug Collins was never going to be like the heck, like he was never going to be a Phil Jackson type. He was never going to be just one of the league's best. But he also had this weird high-ish floor where you were like, we know we're going to be like a playoff team. We know that like he's going to get the defense to where it needs to be and over maximize, like, and just do what we need to do to get into the playoffs and make us some money. Like he's a floor guy, but you're like, he's probably not the guy who's going to get us to the NBA finals. Like John Hynes is probably not the coach who's going to get you to the Stanley Cup final, but he's also just, it's hard to see him being bad. He's going to get way more. He's just going to find a way to get average. And
you are unintentionally giving me the best segue ever. And I'm so thankful for you right now, Chase, because the Rangers are looking at a couple of guys that you could describe like that. I think you could describe John Hynes like that. I think I have a little bit higher opinion. Again, I don't think he was taking this team to the finals or anything like that. But if you want to talk about a guy who is a coach that you absolutely can bring in to get your team back on the right track, build up a semi-decent foundation and, just get you to the playoffs. They are interviewing another guy who's doing that. And like what we were talking about, that same guy is also a guy who will never take you much further than just getting into the playoffs, because one of the other options for the New York Rangers is our friend Peter Laviolette. And the best part about this is I had a podcast for the Rangers reach out and say, hey, they saw me basically clowning the Rangers for wanting to hire Laviolette, and they're like, can you come on and talk to us about this, because we're very scared. I was like, yeah, I can definitely do that. And then a couple days later, after Hynes was fired, they're like, oh yeah, he's been up there to interview for the Rangers job. They DM me and they're like, help. So it's
also kind of awkward too, right? Where it's like, we Preds fans have been, and we have talked about it on this program all year, where it just felt like the most NHL thing possible was Peter Laviolette replacing John Hynes, and then this never-ending cycle. So the two are just forever intertwined. It seems like.
I will say this though, again, like this seemed like this was going to be the worst coaching move that anybody was going to do, and it's by far not now anymore. And I do, I joke. I mean, I say things about Laviolette. He's a successful coach. He's taken 3 teams to the Stanley Cup Finals, which
I was about to say,
I believe no one else has ever done that.
Those first 3 years, those are fun years, and then the
look
last
at the Rangers
2 or whatever. Yeah.
But I mean, I will say this: I am very much in favor of the Rangers bringing in a guy like Peter Laviolette. And no, it has nothing to do with the fact that I want to see what happens to Patrick Kane's career with this. But I
don't think he's going back to New York. So.
Oh, really?
Mm-mm.
Well, let's hope they both they get to be together, because I think that would be. I
like Rangers fans, and I
like.
What's that? He ends up in Dallas or something, right?
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. But yeah, I'm not sure. I just saw that his I don't know if it was after their loss in Game 7 or if it was in exit interviews, but from what he was saying, it sounded like he wasn't coming back.
Yeah. So and then, okay, I'm trying to think. Who am I missing? Who else has been hired, or has anybody actually made a move yet? Washington.
Gallant hasn't been hired.
Yeah, I'm not bringing him up. I learned my lesson.
Yeah, I got it was actually kind of funny. So I wrote an article about it at Flames Nation, and there were some people that thought I was being a little overkill, and I didn't think so. I didn't think so, but one of the comments was like, it was like, why is this writer so concerned with having a old white man who has experience at the helm of an NHL team. I was like, dude, what are you talking about? I don't care about what he looks like or how old he is. I care about the way he thinks the game. Like, I don't know. That was just funny. That's something that's going to stick with me for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how anybody, like, I don't think that there's...
If you read the article, I didn't even say anything. I was just like, hey, maybe this isn't the right time. Like,
this is why you never read the comments, Jeff.
I know,
this is an early journalism, just little experience that you need to notch down. Just don't go through the comments.
I don't know. Sometimes it's okay because sometimes I go in there and be like, hey, it's not just my mom, so that's good.
Yeah, that is nice. I will say I do get interaction, which is good, but
that is good.
Some of it's a little bit,
yeah. But yeah. So guess what? So what are the teams out there that are still looking for guys? So you obviously have the Rangers, got your fellas up north there in Canadian Texas, and Calgary. I mean, of course, before game one last night, my favorite person in the world, Gary Bettman, met with the media. Again, just my favorite person, and just addressed probably like PR disaster after PR disaster in any other league that wasn't the NHL. Talking about Quenneville needing to get reinstated.
I was gonna say he failed to acknowledge any problems with the NHL.
And every once in a while I go and dig up an editorial I wrote about 4 years ago, which was maybe the most like angry I've ever been writing something. I remember sitting at my office at work telling my boss, like, I'm taking lunch right now, and it was 10:30, and just, I mean, I don't think I've ever written like 4,000 words as fast as I did that day, because I was just, pettiness and anger are really good motivators for writing, and I don't utilize it quite enough.
That's literally my entire. Wow, I don't know what that. Wow. Why is my Alexa going off? I don't know why.
That was crazy. Terrifying.
It really was.
No, I didn't know what that was. I didn't even say anything. But anyway, that's what I that's what I utilize most of the time is pettiness and just getting back at people that say dumb things.
Yeah.
It works. It does work.
I have completely. Oh yes, yeah. Okay, yeah. So Batman
and
that's
Alexa,
what it was.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was like,
listen to that. Listen to that. What in the world? That's crazy.
It's incredible.
Oh my god!
Now I know how to mess with you and record stuff now. Fantastic,
dude. Yeah, like it can't even hear you. It would hear me. I didn't say anything the first time. The second time I said something, but I don't know. Anyway, sorry. That's weird.
So I mean, they're talking about guys like Quenneville, and I'm forgetting the other guy that they talked about. Another scumbag. But I mean, just like the whole how they're handling the Valerie Nichushkin.
Oh, Stan Bowman.
Oh God, yes, Stan. Well, how did I not forget? Like, how did I forget him? Yes, the person that was in charge of the cover up from that team up north. And it's great because it's good to see that people and organizations, when they do bad things, they get punished for it, and they definitely don't get awarded the #1 pick in the draft. And the guys that were behind the massive cover up are going to get welcomed back into the league. Man, I don't know, man. I'm seconds away from starting just to go off, but maybe we'll save that for another show, because Gary Bettman is a plague on this league, and the NHL will be forever a poverty league until this man is off the helm. Because again, like they can't. I'm watching games with I don't know, no less than like 70 ads all over the ice and the boards and stuff, and they're like, yeah, we can't raise the salary cap by more than $1 million next year.
He's making it really easy for me to hate him when he puts the digital ads right where the Stanley Cup final should be on the ice.
Yeah, and
that is the worst thing in the world. Yeah,
the sweaters for the Panthers is like, it's in a really weird spot.
And the Knights. The Knights is also really bad. Yeah,
but I mean,
I like it on the ice.
That's kind of their look, though, for the Knights. It's just if it looks gaudy and overworked, they're down for
Vegas,
that.
Baby.
I respect it. I'm not gonna lie. I know people are gonna be mad. I'm pulling for Vegas. I wanted to go to 7 to benefit our boy Colby, but I don't know. They're fun. They took so much that year before the franchise started. They had people in Nashville working with Nashville for a season, and they were like, this is the formula. We're going to take what we're known for, whether people like it or not, and we're just going to embrace it wholeheartedly. You know, Nashville does that with, you know, the country music and all that stuff and whatever. And they said, yeah, we're going to be gaudy. And so now they have actual knights out on the ice before games, you know, battling with swords. And I mean, it's kitsch, but it's also like, as the kids say, it's extremely my shit. So, you know, I really do. I like that. I want to see them. They're a fun hockey team to watch. And they haven't lost a playoff series since I went to their arena. So, which is not the same streak I have with the Predators, let me tell you.
I had a passionate talk with my dad last night about the Vegas Golden Knights and their expansion rules and stuff like that.
Let me guess, Jeff, you're not on the same side as I am about this.
I am not. I mean, I think, you know, I can understand why, like at this point, I think it's less of a big deal. Like you know, Mark Stone and Jack Eichel didn't come to them through the expansion draft. So
Mark Stone's the best. I love Mark Stone.
He's the man. I love him. He's so good. But yeah, like a lot of their, you know, and Aiden Hill's doing really good, who he wasn't part of the expansion draft. Alex Pietrangelo was a free agent.
I still can't believe that move is working out for them. I can't believe that's working out. Like, I mean, that's a relative term, but like they had to, you know, like when you play Monopoly and you get to the point where you're like, I don't have money, and you make up some house rules and you grab some money from another board game and you're like, no, this will work. That's what they did for him. Like, and I can't believe it hasn't blown up in their face yet. I mean, it was just like, are y'all serious that that's a move you want? And they did it. And who am I to judge now? So
yeah, I mean, I think my thing is like, I get it. Like I understand why fans of, you know, former expansion teams that didn't get the same rules are upset. I understand, because, you know, Vegas was in a better spot. But also this team now is a product of aggressive management, and I love that. It's great. They were forceful with their draft capital. They traded Peyton Krebs. They traded Nick Suzuki. Like, these guys are going to be good. And instead of that, they were like, we're going to win now. And they got the right players. They got the right coach. Bruce Cassidy has done a great job. Like, I think they've just, you know, from every aspect, their management has done a really, really good job.
Yeah. And I got to say, like, these were guys that, like, the coaches, like, guys that I was kind of wrong about. I didn't think Cassidy was going to do well. I did think that Paul Maurice was a better coach than what we saw in Winnipeg. But I didn't think Pete DeBoer would be getting, take the Stars as far as he is, because I still think Pete DeBoer is not a very good coach. But, sometimes the retreads work, but I think that's only because our sample size is just, every coaching hire ever. So, sometimes you're bound to have some hits in there. But it's really cool to see. I been one more thing on the finals, because it has been really good so far. But I think now officially the Stanley Cup has never been farther away from a Canadian team than this finals. It is
nice.
Over, like 1,400 miles away in both sites. Like, I think it might have been a little bit further, I think, if it had been Dallas, but like, I don't know. And I've realized I've started to become the guy who makes fun of Canada about hockey. The whole like, hey, one day maybe you guys will become a real like hockey country like we are in the South. Things like that. Just a real.
And most people know I'm kidding. Your half of your roster is Canadian trope or whatever.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah. So, but I mean, it's going to be really cool. Make sure y'all are watching the finals. I usually have a period when the playoffs start, like after Nashville is out, that I can't watch like I can't watch a round or two, because it makes me mad to watch good teams sometimes. And so I'm like, I need time to separate myself.
I was the same way. It did make me mad before, but now where they are now, I'm let's go. Bring it on.
Yeah, it's really good. And people complaining like, oh, this is going to be the lowest watch finals ever. Nobody cares about teams and blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, well, a lot of people care about the Maple Leafs, and
the worst fans are the fans who care about ratings.